Hey, this is Deepesh, and in this video I'm going to take you through how we typically build a lead generation funnel within Facebook ads in order to generate sales using lead generation as the first magnet to kind of get an email address. And this is a real simple funnel, both on the Facebook side and on the sales side. We want the email address. We're going to push that into a registration page to book a time to have a call, and then to get them into that call to be closed offline. So the front end, the Facebook ad side of it, is typical for very many funnels. In this particular example, the payoff, the end point, will actually be to make a booking and to have a call. So there's three parts of this funnel when it comes to Facebook ads. There's the cold funnel, there's the warm funnel, and the hot. So the temperature gauge is literally how much do they know about you and how engaged are they with your product. So we kind of use that temperature gauge down the funnel to understand kind of who we're actually targeting so we can get the messaging right. So our cold audience up here, they are generally interests, behaviors, lookalike audiences and demographics. Lookalike audiences being loading up some kind of list, an email list or website visited, or some kind of seed list to get a bigger file for Facebook to use. So these audiences are, for all intents and purposes, not aware of you or your product or your proposition or your offer. Obviously, in some cases they will be, but for this, we just assume they're not. So the user here, we're going to be serving them a range of video ads. Now, there's a reason why we serve video ads here. It's because of two things. Number one, Facebook favors you keeping them on Facebook. So if you're going to take them off of Facebook, the costs are slightly higher and the kind of bidding becomes a lot more competitive as well. So here we use in Facebook what we call a video views campaign, because all we want is to find the people that are engaged in our video. So that's the goal of this part of the funnel, is to drive the video engagement. We're not necessarily after clicks or purchases or anything else. The best analogy for this is the dating analogy. So here, this is your first date. So you're not going to ask them anything more than the next date. And you don't want to ask them directly. You want to kind of just lead them down a path. And that's why in this stage, we're working on trust, authority, the big domino that we need to knock down for them to kind of really buy into what we're offering, and also social proof. So they're the kind of concepts that we're aiming for at the cold stage, and therefore the content is all kind of pitched around these content kind of philosophies or ideas that we're going to get across. So for a cold audience, it's about, why should I trust you? Why is your product, why is your expertise of relevance to me? And why should I take the time in my newsfeed or wherever we're serving the video ads on Instagram, etc.? Why should I give you the time? So really right here, what we're doing is finding audiences and actually getting the content to work. So our approach is we would test multiple different interests, behaviors, and audiences with multiple creatives and see where we can find the right blend. So this is where a lot of testing comes in. And also I just want to kind of point over here, this is also where most of the budget goes, because essentially what we're doing here is to create a new warmed up audience. So you go from a kind of cold audience targeting and you serve them up the ads. And what you're doing is essentially pulling out people that are engaged in the video. And we determine that by how much of the video they've seen. Video length should be anywhere from kind of 20 seconds onwards to kind of give you enough length in there to lead them through into the video. And then for us to be able to pull out people that have viewed 10 seconds, 25% of the video, 50%, 75%, but we're also tracking the average duration. And in terms of metrics, what we're looking at is how much is it costing us to generate these as well. We want as many people to get to 75%, obviously, and plus, but then what we do is we want to kind of measure the people that get to 25 and 50%. Are they a good audience or not? The reason is that once we've done this kind of cold audience work and we've got some data out here, we then fill this new bucket, which is an audience of people that have been through this journey. So they've come through different audience targeting, they've come through different ads, and we now want to deliver them specifically the next phase of our creative and targeting. So now we're going to the kind of warm audience, and what we have here is people that have actually viewed and engaged with the video. So these audiences we pull out here, so people that have viewed 10 seconds of your video, people that have viewed 25%, 50%, 75%. So these can mean different things based on the duration. So 25% of, 3-minute video is a lot more engaged than 10 seconds. But there's kind of sometimes different nuances where, for example, if you skip a video right to the end and you haven't actually seen, let's say more than 8 seconds, you still may fall into the 75% spot, but you haven't actually seen 10 seconds worth of the video. So this is kind of just what Facebook allows us to do, but it's also worth knowing that's kind of how that works as well. So in the warm audience now, we've kind of made an assumption that if you've viewed 10 seconds, 25% plus, etc., you are engaged. But we retest that again. So we don't just say, if you viewed 50%, you're a great audience. We want to retest that again with a new set of creatives. We may bring some creatives over as well from the cold, but now what we want to do is take them to the next stage of the journey. So they know us, they know the product, they know the brand. They don't necessarily know the product. So that's where now you bring the offer in. That's where now you bring some social proof. This is now where you bring fear of missing out, and also reaffirm the domino as well. So when I talk about the domino, it's the one big statement that's really going to get them to tip over. So if you've read Russell Brunson's Expert Secret, and I recommend you do, the domino is really the one big statement, and a lot of people use it in their kind of sales webinars, that, how to X, Y, Z. That's the thing that you can actually test that in your copy. There's a great example of a guy that's actually done that within his ads to a cold audience, video views, and it's actually doing really, really well. So testing the kind of domino at both stages. Now, social proof, that could be the number of students that you've positively impacted, the number of millionaires you've made, or number of businesses you've helped to grow, that kind of stuff. Or it could be customer testimonials. So someone who's actually taken your product or your service, now talking about kind of what you offer. And that can actually work on both cold and warm. And the reason is that, going back to your cold audience, we're firing many ads to the user. So it's never like we expect them to see one ad and then convert. We're firing many ads. And we're also looking at other things here, like frequency. How many times have they seen our ads? Relevance score, which is Facebook's measure of the quality of the ads. How are kind of users rating the quality of their ads? If people are not viewing, they're not engaging, or they're actually saying, I don't want to see ads from this advertiser, they all give you a negative relevance score. So actually that's a good indicator as to whether you've made a match between your audiences and your creative as well. And the cost per engagement. So I don't generally use that as a lead measure, but that gives me an idea at least of kind of how well that kind of combination of audience and creative is working. And that's where kind of you can also bring videos back down. So social proof, it could be a range of things. Obviously your offer. So now that you're on the kind of second date, so it could be second or third. Bear in mind, I'm considering the ad to be a date. So they could have seen 2-3 ads by now. So you've been through 2 or 3 ads. You can now bring your proposition in. So, join me for this free webinar, or take this free PDF, or take this free masterclass. Now, if you're going to sell, a 5K product or 2K product at this stage, you still might struggle to actually get that traction. So at this stage, you want to still give them value. At this stage, you're building your brand up through value. So giving away lots and lots of free value, free content, make them feel like, if they're giving me this much information, imagine what they'll give me if I engage at this stage. So get them to really trust you, build your authority. You're the expert at this topic. Get that across here. In the next stage, you want to build on that. Take that further. They've already seen a number of your ads. So at this stage, what you want to do is, you can bring your offer in and offer in this kind of format. As I said, could be a PDF, a webinar, etc. But this is where you introduce it. So, hey, I know that you're interested in whatever my domino is. I've given you, here's like a guide, or, 10 free steps to get started on XYZ, whatever it is. In most cases, this ad here will take you to a landing page where you're going to be offering them an opt-in. So that's the kind of journey here. So notice here in our cold funnel, we're not asking for any click. We want to re-engage them and actually bring them into this warm phase, the warm audience. And this is now where we want them to click into our site. So this is our sales funnel now. So literally what we're doing is getting people from our warm audience into the landing page. That's the goal. So up here, there wouldn't necessarily be a button or a call to action or anything like that. You just want to give value and get them to watch your video. Here is now where you want to click. So learn more, sign up, etc. You might have a lead form. So a lead form is a form within Facebook where you can actually capture the lead information and do the same thing that you would do here. So you'd say, give us your email address and sign up for this thing. Others prefer a landing page and an opt-in page. It's entirely up to you. Again, that's something I would test as well. So quite often you get far lower cost per leads here, so you get a lot more emails, but often the quality can be lower because the friction is lower as well. Here, you may get less sign-ups, but because you've got a landing page, you've got a bit more to offer them. It might be that you get better quality. The lead form, there are some creative ways of kind of building the form out. But essentially what Facebook are doing here is offering you a way to actually keep them on Facebook. So if you recall, if you run videos here, the cost per 1,000 impressions is generally cheaper than running kind of ads where you want people off of Facebook. And again, if you can keep them on Facebook here as well, the cost will be lower. So that's another option that we've got. So the two goals here, the goal here is to kind of capture that lead. So looking at this kind of journey, we could be serving video or it could be static ads. So if you recall from this stage, where we served video, we can create audiences off the video engagement. We can do the same here as well. So even if we know they're warm and they're viewed 10 seconds, 25%, etc., we could create another audience. So you could bounce the kind of warm audience off itself. So you could have a video that is just testimonial based, nothing else. So you brought them in, shown an interest in your products and service. You could serve one or two video testimonials, again, no call to action. And it's still a warm audience, but there's no call to action. You kind of build an even hotter audience that you can then push your direct response ads into and have a call to action. So the call to action here is to go into the landing page. Now, what happens if they click on the landing page and they don't sign up? The majority of people that go onto your landing page will not sign up. So sign-up rates could be typically anywhere from 2 to 3% up to 10, maybe even 20%. But there's a good chance that not everyone will want to sign up. One of the key things that you want between your ads and your landing page experience is congruence. What that means is the message is consistent all the way through. Often this is the reason why landing pages don't work, because they often don't carry the same kind of theme, the message across, etc. And so a lot of people will bounce out. So naturally a lot of people will leave the landing page anyway. But that's fine because we've got that. So there's a journey here where people will bounce off of your website and kind of end up into our third part of the Facebook funnel. So what we do here is, this is now website retargeting. So people that have visited the landing page and, for example, they've decided not to sign up. It could be the wrong time, it could be the wrong product for them, it could be the wrong price. That's something that we then have to kind of work on in terms of bringing them back. So this audience here, we call them hot because they've been all the way through this journey. So we've warmed them up, and now we want to get them to execute. So again, with the kind of ads that we're pushing, social proof, fear of missing out, also opportunity cost. Now talk to them about the fact that they've been to the site, they haven't, downloaded your webinar or watched your webinar or downloaded your PDF. Why not? It's free. You're going to get value from it. Build that kind of fear of missing out. Also opportunity cost. Like you could do nothing and your life doesn't change, or you could just download that PDF and chances are you will learn from it and your business and life is going to improve. So that kind of stuff is what we want to focus on in this part of the Facebook ads funnel. And also any false beliefs. So internal false beliefs like, I like this product and service and I like the idea of the PDF, but it looks a bit too technical. I don't think I can do it. Or maybe it's an external false belief that, I'm really interested in this particular service or tool or offering, but, I just think there's too much competition. So, for example, if I'm selling a Facebook ads course and someone's saying, I really want to do the Facebook ads course, but the costs are getting more expensive and there's lots of changes happening with Facebook, I don't think it's going to work for me, then I'm going to bring that out and say, you know what? You could do nothing and you're going to remain in the same path, or you could actually take this webinar, learn from it, take the learnings away and see what happens. Worst case, nothing happens, but you've taken a chance. Best case, something happens and you're going to improve your business. So that's kind of what the kind of messaging that you want to play at this level as well. Now, the kind of audiences at this stage. So we've got people that have visited the landing page, but they've exited. So these are the people that have got to the first step of your funnel and then bounced out. Then there's a second stage, which for this particular funnel, if you recall, is landing page, opted email, and then to kind of book a call. If there are people that have opted in to register, but they haven't kind of taken the opportunity to actually book a call, then what you can do is you can bring them back as well. So if someone actually does give their email address, but then they don't go on to make a booking, then you can actually retarget those people as well. And then you've got the kind of third stage, which is also people that have booked with you, and they may have taken the call and maybe, again, not decided to purchase the product from you. Again, you can retarget those people. So there's 3 retargeting options here. These 2 we can do directly in Facebook. This one, because you're now taking them offline for a call, we have an email list that we'd get from you and then kind of bring that back in and then bring that as a third retargeting pot. So there's 3 opportunities. And essentially, they're getting hotter, and, these are scorching hot. They've gone all the way to making a booking. They may not have turned up, or they may have had a call with you and they've got cold feet. Again, we can start to retarget them out. And what I would say is, although we would be looking to bring them back to the landing page, for those that have actually booked but not purchased, then I would start a messenger conversation. So messenger is great actually for all of these 3 levels, but in particular for these guys that have got cold feet, maybe they just need an additional kind of live chat, I guess, as messenger kind of is, to try and bring them back in. So they're the kind of 3 parts of the funnel. So taking an audience from cold all the way through into warm, getting them to the site. Some people will buy and then bring them back through retargeting. And essentially what you're doing is you're indoctrinating them. You're getting them used to you, making them feel like they know you, you're familiar, and through familiarity often you build trust as well. So that's a key part of this as well. Now, one thing I do want to kind of bear in mind is a question I get is kind of like, where's the budget going to go, and why are we spending so much here and we're not getting results, etc., which is so common. When you're building this kind of funnel in Facebook, this isn't instant. You have to do lots of testing at this stage, and then once you build the audience, you do lots of testing again, and then you bring people to the site, and you may do some testing on your landing page. It might be that we're bringing lots of good traffic in, but your landing page just isn't cutting it. Then we do a lot of testing there, then people come into the retargeting, we bring people back, again there's testing here, and then we try and get them to convert. And essentially this whole process requires the upfront investment on your cold audience, and that's why I put the kind of budget here is, and these are rough numbers, 80% of your budget will go to your cold audience, 10% of your budget to your warm audience, and then 10% to your retargeting. These numbers will change. That's really, really high level, just to give you an idea of the magnitudes and difference. Because also, when you're targeting people up here, you could be doing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or more likely millions and tens of millions of people that you're trying to push your message out to, depending on your budgets and the audience you're going for. However, when you get down to the warm level, often you're talking about, for smaller budgets, hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people, maybe tens of thousands, but they are super kind of relevant now. So your budget here, there's not so much you can actually spend, and there's strategies and tactics of how to get the best out of your spend here. But essentially here, you don't have a massive audience necessarily to play with, again, depending on how much money you're putting in at the top. And then once you've taken them through into your website and brought them back into retargeting, again, they're going to have a smaller number of people. So again, this could be hundreds, if not thousands of people, but these are now super hot, super relevant people. And so therefore the budget shrinks even more. So it could be even 5% of your budget. But on the flip side, what I would say is, where's the revenue coming from? It's unlikely that any of your revenue is going to come from cold. It's likely that some of your revenue is going to come from the warm. It's likely that the majority of your revenue is going to come from your hot, so your retargeting. Because essentially, if you put yourself in the shoe, like in the shoes of your customer, how often do you see an ad, you click something, you watch something, you download something, and then you go and buy straight away? It doesn't happen all the time. But when it does, then you will get some sales coming through at different stages. But the majority will come through where you keep on reminding them. And this is another thing about Facebook ads that I try and get across, which is frequency is not your enemy. if you have lots of ads being seen by someone at this stage and they're not engaging, you're going to make them upset. So if, for example, you've served the ad there, they've exited, they're not happy, but you keep hammering them with ads, they're probably going to get a bit upset. And then they may end up affecting the relevance score, which is Facebook's metric for how well the user likes or dislikes your ad. And bear in mind, relevance score has a big impact on your cost. Then that's going to annoy people. Now, here on the warm phase, frequency can become your friend because you want to build up the familiarity. You want them to get used to you. You don't want to overdo it, though, at the same time. So this is about getting the balance. Now, when you're at the hot stage, now you want to get more frequent. So I'll give you an example. When it comes to email marketing, you'll often hear that some people will say, don't email people more than once a week or twice a week or maybe even every fortnight or every month. The reality is, case studies have shown that actually there's a kind of tip-off point of if you email people a bit more frequently, especially people who are engaged and interested in your product, you'll get a better return out of it as well. So it's kind of what I would say at this stage is frequency is not your enemy. Frequency is actually a good thing to have for your retargeting, especially because your audiences are small and you want to keep front of mind because, bear in mind, we are customers in all this journey. I'm running Facebook ads, but I'm also someone who would come through someone else's funnel. And, the more I see something, it just keeps it front of mind and it avoids me hitting shiny object syndrome, which is, advertiser 1 is giving me this great video webinar that I can go and watch. Advertiser 2 is giving me a PDF and, before I know it, I've got 10 free things that I can go and have a look at. Now I'm a kid in this candy shop. I don't know which one to go for. But probably what will happen is the one that I keep seeing their ads and their emails, and bear in mind there's also an email sequence built off the back of this, they're probably the ones that I'm going to pay the most attention to. So, one thing that I would say is when you're building your funnel out on the Facebook ad site, the Facebook ads, your Messenger, your Instagram targeting, your audience network targeting is not going to be the thing that's going to make you the majority of money. Actually, a lot of your money is going to come through email marketing. So at the point of getting the email address here, there is going to be an email sequence that you're going to want to build out to indoctrinate them further in your product. So here you've got an email sequence that you can kind of build out and you can say, hey, this is me, this is the products, and you can kind of introduce them to the challenges you've had, get them on side, talk to them a bit more about testimonials, etc. Build a bit more urgency. If you buy today, I'm going to give you this. You can start doing that and or maybe even build them up to your call. But what's really cool is you can also retarget them on Facebook and or Messenger as well. So, for example, you might have a 5-day email sequence or a 5 email series sequence, which could be over a longer period. You can synchronize that with your Facebook ads as well. So if you get enough people into that audience, you can build an audience which is literally the same people that are getting emails and serve them the email and the Facebook ad at the same time and get them kind of into the kind of content that you're trying to pitch out. And again, it's that consistency, it's being front of mind and making sure you're really kind of hand-holding them through. And again, when it comes to testing, you're going to test your email sequences, what time of day, how many emails, what type of email, etc. But this all comes into play to bring someone from the kind of cold, has never heard about you or your product, or maybe has but doesn't really know you, bringing them through to warm, into hot, getting them through your funnel, and then ultimately buying. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of what we're doing on the Facebook ads side to help deliver quality traffic. And then from the sales perspective, how we're funneling that and how we're refunneling that as well. And then using email to support that. So it looks like a lot of diagrams and things like that. It's actually a really, really simple funnel. Lead generation for sales is one of the simpler funnels to build. The most difficult part is getting the content right and getting the expectation right of kind of what to pitch across. And that's where we come through testing to try and get the right pitch for the video, the content, even the lead magnet. Is a free PDF the right thing? What kind of PDF? What kind of content? They're all elements that you'll be testing through to make sure you get the right pitch.